So NumPy is a Python package. Till now we have read about the SymPy and Matplotlib. Similarly, NumPy is a Python package which stands for numerical Python. Okay, and is used particularly for the scientific computing, which contains powerful n-dimension array objects. Okay, these are having in the NumPy you have. Okay. Now, how and why we use NumPy? There are several lot of reasons why we use NumPy and what are the things we should focus in the NumPy, right? So let's talk about these things. Okay. So where is NumPy used? Okay. So where is NumPy used? This NumPy arrays provides kind of C++ tools, right? So these provide us with various basic tools. These are used in the linear algebra or random number capabilities on factors. Okay. So this can also be used as an efficient multi-dimensional container. Okay, and you can say like for the generic data information, right? This can be implemented there. Okay. All right. 1 second. Sneha is asking something. Implementation sessions. Okay. She's asking the topic of today. So that is NumPy. Alright. So what are Python NumPy arrays? So we have learned that the NumPy is nothing but the numerical Python package, which will give us an just a method to solve some of the dimensional objects or some scientific calculations, computations you can say. Okay, so we'll be getting all these things. Now, where we use it, it's a linear algebra, random number functionalities, and very much spaces over there. So, what is a NumPy array? So, if we talk about the NumPy array, so NP arrays are a powerful n-dimensional objects. Okay, these are the n-dimensional objects. But don't worry, I have uploaded these things inside the site, so you don't have to work on much. So 1 second. So yesterday's site in which we gave the examination, today the AIML data science students have read those. So I have updated the pattern there. So you can just go with those things. You don't have to do much. So there you have written what is NumPy, where is NumPy used, or the NumPy arrays, and all those things are there. Okay, so not focusing into these all much things. Okay, so just will give you an overview. Okay, and we have cheat codes for this too, so we'll be discussing about these also. 1 second. So okay, so let's see, and we'll see how to make things. Okay, so there in the NumPy, when we try to do something, then the first thing you have to do is import the NumPy as NP. The very first thing you do is import the NumPy as NP. Okay, Pooja is having connection problems. Here we have power cut from 2 hours due to bad weather. Oh, she is having some network issues. Okay, so this is the first thing you import it, kind of. Okay, now to make anything in the NumPy, let's say what you do is in the NumPy you first make an array. So what is an array? There is what is an array? What is a NumPy array? So what is a NumPy array? Okay, so we can define the NumPy array. We can define it as the powerful n-dimensional objects in the forms of rows and columns. Okay, anything in the forms of rows and the columns, having that as a kind of an n-dimensional arrays. So if I write it np, zoom there, dot the array. So that is a function of an NumPy array, NumPy dot array, exactly, right? So we'll try to see the single dimension arrays, the multi-dimensions arrays. So when we come to understanding the NumPy array, there, as I said, you have n dimension. So n dimension states that you have two kinds, that is your single dimension and the multi-dimensions. Okay, now let's talk about the single dimension. So single dimension will give you someone scale who is presenting. Who started presenting there? Alright, someone started presenting. No problem. So single dimension is another very basic thing, guys. I'm giving you a very good concept of that. Suppose you suddenly saw an array that could be inside the brackets, and that could be any for this one. Okay. Suddenly you saw an array there. Okay. Now, what is the dimension of it? You have asked me. You haven't asked that what is the dimension of this array. So how to calculate? How to see the dimension? So not going into the formulas, what you can do directly is you can see the brackets, the square bracket. So you can find that the square brackets are starting from 1. That is only one square bracket starting. Okay. So the number of dimensions, I will be saying that this is having one dimension. Okay. Not getting much into this. We'll see. Okay. Let's say that this is A1 and this is np dot array. So for making any array object, what you have to do is you will make np dot array, and then we will write. Let's see who just came. Alright, I think our problem has resolved. No problem. Okay, so here we are. So it's kind of an NumPy dot array, and till now, guys, those who have joined now, we haven't done much here. Okay, we just imported the NumPy, and we'll deal that these is just a kind of a library, a package you can say, which will give you an overview for doing scientific calculations, computations, and many much thing more. Okay. So we'll get everything in the video till now what we have decoded. So single dimension, and there we have some n-dimensional objects in NumPy array. Okay, so the array is having two kinds, single dimension, and apart from single, any more it is kind of a multi-dimension. Okay, so single dimension, let's say we have taken some numbers over there and this kind of we have done like that. Okay, and just we print it the A1. So this is our A1 1 2 3 4 4 5 6 6. That's all. Okay, if you print, okay, let's talk about the multi-dimension. So multi-dimension would be greater than one dimension. Let's say it's A2, and let's define it as numpy dot array, and let's say that this is having more than one dimension. So more than one dimension, what I said, guys, more than one dimension means that more than one bracket, more than one square bracket, right? So more than one square bracket now. So this was having one dimension, one particular bracket, only one bracket's there. Now more than one dimension, more than one bracket. Okay. So I'm taking it as a two-dimension figure. So let's say 1 2. Let's say 3 4. Right, let's say 4 5 5 6, depends what you write. Let's say 5 6. So this is a multi-dimension figure now. np dot array and all these things are given, right? Okay, and I just print it off A2, and this is my answer. This is 1 2 3 4 and 5 6. Now what is this? Why it look like this, not like this? I'll discuss everything there. Okay, don't worry. So this is a multi-dimension figure, and this is a single dimension. Okay, yeah, this plays a very important role when you go in the computer vision part, because in your course there is also a section for computer vision. Okay, that is OpenCV. In the OpenCV, when you record videos, on when you just do some recognition things, so you will be seeing that there are something called as you say it as a kind of NumPy array objects. Okay, you see there as an NP array. Okay, so these were some of the dimensions, right? Now to check the dimension, we will be using some function called as ndim. Okay, that is your what I said. To check the functions or to check the dimensions, what we'll use is ndim. we'll be using ndim to check the dimensions of a particular thing. Okay, so let's print that the dimension of a1 is and a2 is. So the dimension of a1, that is a1, is 1, you can see, and the dimension of a2 is 2, exactly, because you have some 2 starting and 2 ending there, so it's 2 dimension. Okay, very basic things. Moving on, so you can just write it for the similar as a1 dot ndim, and you can just take off here a1. Similarly for the a2. Okay, so basic things are there. Right. Now, suppose you want to give some minimum number of dimensions, right? Now you want to give an array and you want to set some minimum number of dimensions there. So what you can do is, to set the number of minimum dimensions. Someone has see a key now. Okay, cool. Where was we? Where we were? Okay, here. Now to set the minimum number of dimensions, that actually means that, let's say that I'm making a one dimension array and I'm saying that the number of dimensions I need is 10 or I need is 5 or 3, anything. Okay, so let's say this is my x, any particular, let's say C, and I'm saying it's an array of some dimensions. Okay, now let my dimension be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is my dimensions. This is my objects of an array. This is my thing right now. I mean that I will define the minimum number of dimensions. That is, number of dimensions minimum required is. So what is the minimum number of dimensions required in this particular array? So that I'll be defining here. So for that, what I do is, okay, yeah. So let's say I want 5 number of dimensions there. That's good. I'll just print on the C and you will see what happens. So this is particularly starting with the 5 brackets, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all. So this is the kind you can just give on number of dimensions you want to be the minimum one. Okay, so it depends on you. So particularly to see a data type of any object or any array, if you want to see a data type of any array, what you will do is, you will be writing the array name and then you will be writing data type. So you'll be getting the data types there. So what are the data types? So there are a lot of data types similarly. Like say this is an integer 64. Okay, now you can define your own data types too. You can define your own data type. How? Let's say that you are making an array. And you are saying your data type to be complex. So when you see your f, it is an array having 12 point plus 0 point j and 13 point plus 0 point j. Because I have discussed in the first class, right, that the basic thing of a complex number always comes in a float, right? I have discussed those things. So this is here you're getting the results in the float. Okay. And you can also define your minimum number of dimensions you need. Similarly, you can define it for the complex. Similarly, you can define for the float. Okay, so you can give its a kind of thing. Okay, these are the basics. Now, there are a lot of data types. Similarly, there are a lot of kinds of data type having there, right? So what exactly are the data types? How many kind of data types are there, right? So there are some of the classes and there are some of their functions, right? So how it is, let's say that this is data. Now let's make a dictionary. Let's say type. Type are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 5 types. Let's say, no, let's take it as number. Let's take it as type. So let's say first number kind of boolean. It can be of integer. It can be of complex. It can be of float, and moreover it can be of various things, like for the integer C or integer of 64 bits, or it can be of integer of 34 or 82, sorry 82 not 34, that is, it can be of integer of 32, it can be integer of 16. Similarly for the floats also, it can be so I'm not taking all of them. Okay, so there are a lot of files in that. I'll make it upload in the site, you can read it from there. Okay, will be doing those things. So there can be, similarly there can be a float of 64, there can be a float of 32, there can be a float of 16. So a lot can be happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many we have done? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have written till 10. So let's give 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and the 10. So let it be there. Data. So if you see data, please let's see it's correct or not. So keys are number and the type and the okay. Let me show you how it happens. Don't understand the logic now. Okay, don't try to go for the pandas section. Just I'm giving you a logic. So there is probably a bad weather there today. So this is my data. Let's see. So I can see that the type you have is kind of a boolean, integer, complex. Let's see about the data. So these are the things you can have: float, you can have integer, complex, float, integer 64, integer 32, 16, float 64, float 32, float 16, and complex similar, complex 16, complex 32, complex, and all those. Okay, so there can be a many types of these data type. Okay, so how to define these data types now? How to define all these things? So for defining, what you will do is, let me show you. So for defining, what you do, let's say make an array. Okay, you are making an array. Let's say any of the values, 12, 30, 45, 67. Okay, you gave some of the values in there, right? And by default, if you run this, you will be getting a float value for every of them. Okay, but when you say that you want the data type to be np dot integer of 64, let's say, so you want this, so you can see your array has been an integer value. So it depends. These 64 are nothing but you are saying that the data type is of these much bytes. Okay, now these bytes are having some different type of size. Each element of each data type will have some different sizes. Okay, we'll see how it is. So let's say we have int 16, let's say we have int 18, sorry, 64, let's say we have int 32 and all, right? Now these can be replaced by I1, I4, sorry, I2 and I4. Okay, these can be replaced. Not 16, not this is 8, this is 16, and this is 32. It can be replaced. Moreover, it can go higher and higher, multiplied by 2, and then you can just change on. Okay, 8 to the 16, 16 to 32. That is 1 into 2, 4, 1 into 1, 2, and 2 into 4, and so on. It will go there. So 1 multiplied by 2 is 2, 2 by 2, 4, and similarly it will go for I6, right? Simple concept. Now, see, now we have done till now that what are the kind of the just seeing the dimensions. We can check the dimensions, we can make our own dimensions what we want. We have converted the data types, we have seen what are the data types kind of thing we are getting here. There are a lot of more. Okay, I'm saying there are a lot of more to go on, right? So there are things more. Okay, now let's see what is the shape of a first of thing, what is the shape of particular array. So we'll try to understand what is the shape. So what is the shape of an array? So shape of an array can be just given by using np dot shape. So it is an NumPy shape, and you just write on a parameter there. You will get the shape out there. It's saying okay. So let's make a NumPy. Let's say till this is x, and let's write that this is np dot array. That is correct. Okay, this is an array now. Okay, and I'm giving this as a data type of, let it be float. Okay, I'm giving this as a kind of a float now. That's good. Okay. Now I want to see the shape of this x. So I'll be looking at that. Sorry, x dot shape. So this is 2 by 3. It says that it is having 2 rows and 3 columns. Understand? That is having 1 and 2. These are the 2 rows having 1, 2, and 3 columns there. Understood? Basic. And these are the kind of float. If you just check it on, you will be getting some float values. And data type is float 64. If you check for also, we're getting the, this is your array and this is your data type. Clear? Moving ahead. So shape can be checked using that, right? Now, if I write a array, let's say and I check a shape of this. Let's say it's 1 by 3. That is one particular row and 3 columns there. 1, 2, and 3. Understood? Alright. Nice going. So we can just reshape anything. If you want to reshape, if you want to shape any particular array in some other terms. If you want to, let's see that we are having 2 by 3 as x is our x shape is 2 by 3, and now we want to shape it into 3 by 2. So how to make that? So we know how to change the number of dimensions, how to change these things. So how to change the shape? So for that you will be using reshape. Okay, so let's say we want to reshape this into reshape to 3 by 2, or let's say 3 rows and 2 columns. So reshape into this. So for that you will be using reshape, that is np dot reshape there again. Okay, so let's say x, let's store in the y, and let's say x dot reshape, and this is from the 3 by 2, and that's all. Now print the y and also the y dot shape. So I can see that y is equals to y dot shape is giving your 3 by 2, and your y has been reshaped to 1 2 3 4 and 5 6. Now instead of 1 2 3 4 5 6, I'm getting 1 2 3 4 and 5 6, and my shape, instead of having 2 by 3, we are getting 3 2. Understood? I hope you can see the difference of the reshape one. Okay. Now this reshape can be used many a times, and in many examinations and in many of the interviews it is asked, right? What is the basic method that you can just it's like kind of, what is the method of how you can just break down any particular array or into one dimensional array. Okay, sometimes it comes any n dimensional array into one dimension. So for just changing any n dimensional array, uh, let's say that this is an array. So this is 1 2 3, and I say this data type to be boolean, and I say the number of dimensions minimum to be 100. So this is all right. It should be 10 there. So this is the number of dimensions I'm having, let's say, right? Now this is a 10 dimension array. Okay, now what I want is, once again, okay, yeah. So what I want is to make this into one dimension array. So this is a 10 dimensional array, and I want to make it into one dimension array. So it's very easy. After this thing, you just write here, and after this creating array, you just say that, let's copy this one, reshape this to -1, that's all. So you will be getting just a one dimension array. So that is only the true and true. Okay, so this will be giving you a result of it. So let it be any kind, let it be x. So x is this. Now if you write x dot reshape, so you'll be getting one dimension array of x. It is 1 2 3 4 5 6. Understood? So this is the basic thing. You can be asked in many of the interview, and the question difficulty level is easy. Okay, for that, right? So there are various type of difficulty levels of the questions asked, right? So this is the priority, the basic question: how you can change the n dimension to one dimension. Right? So you will be getting 100 questions on NumPy to practice on. Don't worry. It is a very important thing for the machine learning and for the AI also. Okay, it is important there. So we have talked about the one-dimensional array, the multi-dimension array. What about that if an array haven't, or if it array does not have any kind of dimension, a null dimension, zero dimension? Right? So what if an array does not have any dimension? What kind of situation it is? How we get that? Okay. So you will be asked, like, let's say you have been asked, let's say 12 parenthesis this is the output. This is the output. Okay, one second. So you are asked to print this output using the NumPy array, using 3 of the functions also. So you have been said use 3 functions, okay, of NumPy and bring this output, right? So very basic thing. What you will do that, you can see that this 12 can be an array, right? This 12 can be an array exactly. Now what are these parentheses and what are these 0? So this 0 can be the, so 0 cannot be the data type till now whatever you have read. 0 can be the dimension, that is dimension can be 0. Then what is this parenthesis? So try to get some logic. If an array is not having any dimension, will that have any shape? No. So if no dimensions are there, how can a shape be formed, right? So it's very easy. You just write np dot an array. All right, let's say it's q equals to np dot an array. Let's say this is 56 or we want 12, right? So 12. Now this is a q now. Okay, this is a q. Now I'll be printing out the q, the np dot shape, q dot shape, q dot shape, and q dot number of dimension. That's it. So let's run this. So you got the output 12 parentheses and the 0 there. Understood? So this is how you can get to the 0, because this 12 is not having any kind of brackets there, right? Can you see any square brackets there in the cube? So it is not having anything there, right? So this is no brackets, no dimensions. Is anyone was asking anything?
Sir, please repeat what that 12 parenthesis 0 means.
This is the queue, that is the array. This is the shape of this array, and this is the dimension of this array. Okay, I have just given that this is an output. Print this output using the NumPy. Okay, don't confuse with this. Okay, fine. So yeah, moving ahead. Now we'll try to see these things. Okay, so we have done the OTP section, right? And I think that you guys are good for that, the random function, right? So if we just pass on something in the random, what happens? We get some duplications, right? Correct. So let's say that if I give you a condition, let's say I want some random numbers. Okay, what is the possibility that I will not get the duplications? Yes, now answer your probabilities. What is the possibility that I'll be getting some duplicate numbers? Yes, let's see who answers there. The question is, again I'm saying, I'm making a random number, okay, a list of random numbers. I have given a range of some there, and I'm adding one by one random numbers in my list. So what is the possibility that I will get the equal values? Depends on the range, correct? uh, what about else? Do you have any percentage values? All right. So Surya is saying it depends on the range. Exactly, it depends on the range. So it depends as, like, say, okay. So my question is to Surya again. So let's say Surya, that if I write it as my question is, if I take some numbers 1 to 10, right, and I'll be just making it for some 10 times. So what is the possibility I'll get some same numbers? Yes. Now what is the possibility? I've given the range 1 to 11. The possibility of getting the same numbers. Yes, answer. And that can be a probability which will not be correct, right? You can get 10 times. Okay, you're giving 10% chances. Alright. Yeah. The rest, what you say? What could be the chances? Pooja Ghosh joined. All right. Okay, let's ask to Pooja. Pooja, what can be the chances for the number of repetitions if I give the range between 1 to 10? 1 by 10.
Sir, my connection was lost actually. I didn't hear anything.
Okay, I asked the question that if I write this statement, if I write a rand of 1 to 10, if I want to print some numbers from 1 to 10, what is the possibility I'll be getting the same numbers? Right? When you run these things, you might get sometimes the same numbers. You might get, okay, till now we, okay, 10 has been for 2 times, 5 2 times, 2 again 2 times, 9, 10 again 1 time. So the you can see the just repetitions. So I'm asking what are the probabilities of getting the same numbers? 1 by 10. 1 by 10 into 10, 1 to the 10 to the power of 10. Okay, that, okay, that is exactly, I also don't know, right? Because it's a random one and we can't just predict something happening on the randoms. So let's say you have a list, empty list, okay, and let's say now that you're writing for I in a range of 100 numbers. What you're doing is you're saying that this is a random integer. Let's say today's date is 1 2, and no, what is today's date? What is the date today? 28. All right, so 28 7 20. Tomorrow 29 7 20. Okay. This is your R, that is your random number. I'll do L dot append R, that's all, and then we'll print the L at the last. Very basic thing. Int has no attribute of. So I have got some of the numbers, that is my L, my sum of the 99 numbers, let's say to be 100 numbers now. So I've got 100 numbers, but these are not in the sorted way, right? We can see that 2 8 something here, 7 2, it has 7 4 7, here it is 4 4 6 9. So these are not in the sorted way. So let's make it also sorted. Now this is a sorted something we are getting on. Okay, so what is the probability of same number printing here? Any same number, any same type we are getting? There might be some same cases. So how to get that? Let's say for that we use in NumPy for common elements. If any duplications are there, so we'll be getting common from that. So for common elements we use unique. Okay, so first let's count the length of L. So it's 101. Good. Let's take 100. It's 100. And we'll also see what is the length of unique elements of X. Sorry, L. So it is saying that it is 98. That is 98 unique elements and 2, that is one particular. Okay. So there are 2 or there could be 1 which are duplicates. Right. So how will you find that duplications? That is one of the messy tasks, that how will you find that duplications. Okay, there could be one, there is just, so among of 100 we got 98. So what is the percentage, guys? In 100, what is the percentage? Yes, what is the percentage of duplications we are getting? The 2 duplicate values among 100. Let's make it 1000. 954. Depends on what you give. So these are the data you will be handling on. Let's say you have given 1 to a good range. Let's say from 1 you are just finding on from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is your range and you are working with this. Now I'm not going to print everything, just using the first 20. So this is 1997. There is only 3 duplications. So you can see that we can't predict on for any kind of these random functions, right? This is just an automated generated, but still we are getting 3 common values, right? So what are the exact positions of these common values, or what are the just the indices, or how many if unique? So if I write it as np dot unique, so only I'll be getting the unique numbers. If I just print out the unique one, see how you can see that it's very easy. You will create an array. Let's say this is L1. You will create an array of np dot array, and let's store it's in a kind of, this is an L. Okay, so this is an np array of L. That's okay, right? So if you write your L1, you will be getting a lot of contents there. So let it be L of 10. So this is L of 10. Okay, now let's take some other one, the unique ones. Okay, so let's take L2 is a numpy dot array of np dot unique numbers of L. Okay, or let these be the unique numbers. So see L2 of 20 or 10. So that's good. Okay. Now if we apply L1 minus L2, there might be some problems. That is, operands could not broadcast together with shapes of these days. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's say this is an also L. Okay. So if we subtract it from L, that would cause an error, right? So if we do subtraction there, we'll get everything 0. That is a problem. So let's identify it with these things. Okay. Add some input. See if this works. Unicode not happens. All right. till 996 are there, and after that we are having some duplications, it's saying. Okay. Alright. So if we just write on so for 100 there are no duplications. Let's make it to 100. Not getting any duplicate values. So see, when we take it for, yeah, got it there. Okay. So L1 minus L2, you have got these are the kind of the numbers now. These are the numbers of L. Okay, if I see the index, that might be from the index, I think. 399, 377, and these are the index values. 399. How many common values are there? 97. So there is some missing values, right? There are some of the missing values. You can find 0, 2, 3. So let's make this as a kind of an array also. Let's say this is y, and see, oh, sorry. Getting the values, but still there are some issues. All right, we'll see later on. Okay. First, let's discuss that if we need to avoid this common thing. So what we'll do? Okay. So to avoid this common, what we have to do is there we can see some commons. So that is 397. So might be 3 are the common one. Okay. So to avoid this common, what we can do is we can pass on some of the value that is here in the L. What we can do is we can say that after this thing we'll make a check that if this R is in the L. So if this R lies in the L, what I'll do is I'll continue. Remember the loop things, right? So you'll be continuing if this R comes in the L. And then if it is not there, then I'll be appending these values. Okay. So if it is not there, I'll be appending and then I'll be printing it out. Fine. So now let's see the number of characters. So now for every time you will run, you will not get any equal or any, sorry, you will not get any common values. Okay. And now let's say you want to tell 4000. So you ran till 4000 and there what happened? Range of 4000 might you some same numbers you have got, so it automatically continue. That is, in the 4000 you got some of the some you can say some common numbers would have been there, so it has not taken, it has skipped those values. So see, now common numbers are not there. This is automatically used for the in the functions of the OTP. That's right. Some workshop someone asked, I think from your batch someone asked that, sir, OTP can be also same. So that can be same. So to avoid that, we use these things. So what we use there is we use where is the hyphen? Yeah. So this is the kind we use there. So you get these things. Now these OTP will not be the same. What happened? There we got something same. In the 4000 we got the unique numbers as 3960. 1 minute. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. That's correct. strnval. Okay, now we have defined it later on once. There is a problem. Okay, let's see this. Yes, correct. So we have initialized this C later onwards. That was the problem. So now this C is this, and we'll check whether C lies in the L or not. Okay, that's a very basic thing we use in the. So this can be used. Now NumPy is very much faster as compared to your list. How? We'll give you an example for that. How we can see this NumPy is very much faster as compared to list. There you can see no duplication values you will be getting now. Okay, so you can print anytime. Let's remove these things. So you can just see the L or first 100. So these are the first 100 OTP that will be sent to some of the users. Okay, so that can be correct. And let's say this is an so this is an NumPy of an L. So it says it's having some Unicode characters U8 till U8. Okay, and this is an U8 data type. Okay. So if you write np.dtype, so if you want more information on the dtype, what you'll write np.info, and then you will write np.dtype. So you'll be getting information about the dtype. So these are the kind of data types you are having. So dtype basically creates a data type, and you will get everything. That is int either 16 or f1 what is used, f1 f2 is for float, and all these things, right? So there are all of things you can just go with these things. Okay, so you'll get all these things there. Okay, now I was in the np.array of L. Let's say this is stored in X. Now let's bring the first 100. You can see the first 100, let's say for the first 50. It has been 500. So these are the first 50 numbers, and we don't actually sort this. So while reading this, we don't sort these things. We just take it like that. Okay, and we just run it, so that it should not maintain any of the kind of series, right? So it should not maintain any series there. So that's why we don't sort these things. I sorted to make you clear for how it happens. So you can see now no replications or no duplications are there in this particular line. Okay, so that's it. Moving on. So this is used as in case of for the OTPs or bank generations, right? So bank also checks these kinds and just reports to you. Okay, so for making what you analyze from here, I was just comparing. Okay, I was in the comparing for the list and that. So for comparing those things, let's say I need to import some of the modules for the time. We have read about the time. We have read about the system also. Okay, so we'll import these things and we'll just say that this S is equals to this S is equals to a range. There is a range of some numbers. Let's say this to be 1000 and let's say this to be printed sys dot get size, take any of the random element and then print the length of that. That's all. Similarly, take a NumPy arrange. Now in NumPy, when you want to make any range, you will be using arrange. Let's give it. Size into d dot item size. Okay. So this is S. Now this is a comparison on the basis of the size the list stores of some 100 range, 100 numbers, sorry, 1000 numbers, and the NumPy stores for the 1000 numbers. Okay, we'll just see the comparison on the storage capacities. So I'm taking a range of some 1000 numbers and then printing the system. From the system I'm printing the size of one element. So the size, if the element size of one element is this, so the number length of S is the length of elements, that's 1000. The 1000 elements would be also the same, right? Multiplied by that, I'll getting the size of that. Similarly, in the NumPy, what happens? Individual size, if you want to check, it's like for the size, and the item size will be multiplied by the whole number of the. Okay. So when you run this, you will get it. That is a range, or you can say for the list is storing these 1000 numbers with a storage capacity of 28,000 bytes. Okay, and this is storing only with 8,000 bytes. So this is the uh, comparison, particularly you can say. Right. So this was a comparison on the basis of a storage. Okay. So one second. Now we'll compare it in the basis of the time of the execution. Okay, so let's say this size is again the S, let it be, or let's increase the size. Let's say this S to be, let's say it to be that. Okay, and let's take L1, L2 as the list. Let's write it as L1 is nothing but a range of numbers from the S. L2 is also the range of the numbers till S. Similarly, let's take A1 and A2, the two arrays, and let's take these are the np dot range of S and np dot range of S. Right? So this is a range of these things. Correct. Now we'll use the start time. Let's say the start time, that is your TIME. the time, right? So the start will be time, current time dot time, okay, and the result I'll be getting it. I'll be applying the for loop here. So that is x comma y for x comma y in. Now zip will combine the values of L1 and L2. Okay, so this is my start, this is my result, and I'll be writing on that time, not in the parenthesis, time dot time minus the start time, and this I'll multiply it with the 1000 to get the exact time in the seconds, not in the milliseconds. Alright, I'll multiply that by this to get the time. Similarly, for the NumPy also, I'll take a start time. So this line says that yes, your execution has started. Okay, and now let's take the result to be A1 plus A2. So for combining these, just you can use A1 plus A2. So we'll give you that is time dot time minus the start time multiplied by 1000. Okay, so these are the things you'll be getting on, right? So when we'll run that, you will be getting the runtime of a list and the runtime of a NumPy object, NumPy array particularly. Okay, so we'll run this and we'll see there is an error. 1 second, it's time here. This is the error. So you are getting that the list is having a runtime of this to be the 364 seconds, milliseconds particularly. Okay, so these are the milliseconds you are getting, 364, and this number is having 92 microseconds. Okay, that is microseconds you are getting. Okay, so you are getting these things. This is 364 point this, and this is 92.734 and all this, right? 92.7374 FM. There is one FM, right? With this 92.7 something. Okay, so this you can see the speed. In the comparison of speed, NumPy is very much faster. In the comparison of storage, it's 7 times better. All right, 1 second. Oh, why the students have doubt? Okay. Moving ahead with the concepts. Understood everyone? Any query to everyone? Let's see. No there. Anyone is having any query? They can ask, right? So this arrange can be used to find out a range of numbers. Let's say you have used the arrange and you said you want some 1000 numbers or some these triangle numbers, and you reshape these into hundreds cross 100. So this cannot be reshaped into that, no problems. So let's reshape. This is 1 2 3 4 5. Let's remove 1. Done. So 100 rows and 100 columns. That's correct, right? So you're having now 100 rows and 100 of the columns. So let's see. Let's say this is 100. So HU. Only will see the first 5. So the first 5 looks like this. So let's see first. Let's see values from the 10th to 11th. That's all. Only see the 10th one. So this is the value. That is your one particular row with 100 of the columns. So these are the columns. 1000 to 1001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and all these again here. Okay, so this is one particular column there. That's good. Okay, so what I'm saying is, see, now you can make anything in your arrange and you can just reshape these things. Okay, so there's other basic things you can do work with. Now these elements might be having some individual item size. Okay, that is item size. So item size depends on the basis of the data type you write on, right? So if I see what is the data type of HU, so it's saying it's integer 64. Okay, so it is an integer 64. Okay, fine. There are some issues today. So I was saying that since you have this as integer 64, so you can get the size of these things. How? So you can just write the data type is your, uh, if you write data type is your np dot, or let's say this is an integer 64. Okay, and you want the item size of that. So the item size of integer 64 bit is always 8. Okay, so the items or the elements having in an array of 64 bits of integer will always have a size of 8 bytes. Okay, now let's see. Now, if you see the size of this, if you just write on size, you will be probably getting some errors because this is just a data type right thing. Okay, so you can see the item size. So many times students try to get these things. So this is an item size. So this HU is a kind of an integer 64. So when we'll check on the item size of the HU, we'll find that this is also 8. But when you check the size, it says it's 10000. So number of things there is this. So when you multiplied it with the item size, so you'll get the exact size this HU is storing on. It's storing 80,000 bytes. We can then make anything to the list. Okay. Now, if you see your, oh, sorry, there is no such. So what you will do is the get size of this H. Let's take it any numbers 10. So this is 28. 100. This is 28. 54. This is 28. Right. So this is just a 1. This is 28. So this integer are having a size of 28. Okay. And now I have a list of HU. So get size of HU is 1016. Okay. So size of HU is 1016. So if you multiply it by the length of HU, so you can compare down the sizes. But if I write just as a kind of 5, sorry. Right, so that is just a one particular value. So if you just work with the whole, you will be getting this. So you can compare. If you write it here, this is the value. If this section, this is the size it's having. All right. So these are, as compared, you can see this is very much better than this, having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digit values, and this is sum up with the 3 to 5 digit values. So there is a lot of difference between a one single digit also in the cases. Okay. So this is how the data type works. So every element is having some item sizes. Okay, understood. Similarly, there is a term called as zeros. So if you write a zero, if you write just a zeros of let's say 10, so this particularly will give you a new array of some specified size filled with zeros. Okay, so this zero will give you some of the zeros. Now you can define your data type, that is np dot, let's say you want zeros and you want some 10 zeros, and you have defined your data type, let's say d type, to be a complex. So you're probably getting a complex number. Understood. Similarly, you can write down these things and you can also shape it. You can also reshape this. So now 2 cross 5. Now you can again write it as, in place of zeros, let's take out ones. So ones will return similar thing, but in the one state. Integer 16. No. So this is one matrix of some 2 rows and 5 columns. So 2 rows, 5 columns, and the data type is integer of 16. Okay, so let's, item size would be 2. Okay, so item size of the data type 16 is 2. If you see the size, you'll be getting it's 10 there. Okay, that is the total number of occurrence in the NumPy. Understood? Similarly, you have an identity matrix. You know, identity matrix are nothing but the identity matrix are nothing but the just the diagonally one what you get, right? In the class 12th, you might have read the first chapter, matrix. There might be an identity matrix that is denoted by np dot I. If you write an 10, you will be getting a 10 cross 10 identity matrix. That is what I'm talking about, I. So this is, you're getting 1 there, and you can define your data types. So we're getting an identity matrix of a data type complex. It depends. So these are the false values, and let's say this to be reshaped into 2 cross 5. Array size of 100 into, okay, so you got this. Okay, that is true, false, false, false. So true will be only in the places of the diagonals. So you're getting true here, true here, true, true, true. So you're getting diagonally true values. Understood? So these are your true values, and you can find the occurrence of number of true values you are having. So how you can find it? That you can just make this convert into a list, and then you can just count on the occurrence of true values. Use any or the all. Okay, no problem. Let's do another thing. So these are the values. That's okay. just take it as kind of, don't reshape it, let it be as it is there. Entry point for launching AI Python kernel. Scalar failed. Alright. Why it is an, I've converted this as a kind of a list, but still in the NumPy. Let's do something there. We have 10 rows, 10 columns of S. Okay. Alright. That is the occurrence. Good. Again, it is a problem. So these are the values. Still the same issues. What to do. Anyone can give any kind of hint to calculate the number of row there. So what I can do is Boolean object is not iterable. So these are the true values and the kind of this I'm getting. Alright. No. So particularly this is your you can say as your identity matrix, that is true. You're getting some discrete values here. But we need to find some of the number of true occurrences, exactly the 10, right? So you have 10 occurrence of the true result, but that to be programmed here, it's something we are getting errors. Let's see. What you can use true is column value. Okay. So where it would be true, df all values equals to true, I'll be storing it in an x and will print the length of x. Let's see. All right, got it. So that is 10. So this is what I'll let you know. What I have done here is nothing but I just made these kind of things. I just was thinking of what is not happening. So what I did is I made a 10 cross 10 your S, right? And then I stored or made it into a data frame. We'll run this in pandas. So I know that is it will be 10, but that to be programmed there. So you have written these things, okay? And then I just look for the df of the values. Now that states that if I write df of 0, now I know that these are represented by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. So I gave a range of 10 numbers. So if I write df of 0, it will give me the 0 column. Okay. So the column is having true, false, and all these values. So I'm getting one true result. So if I write this as values, so I'll be getting the values of the df row. So I'm getting true, false, these are values. So if I just keep a list of these things, let's say I'm just using a list, and if I just count it here, that is true. So I'll be getting one true result from this particular one, right? From the 0. So from 0 I have got some one true result. From similarly I will getting from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I did, instead of writing all these things, I made a list S. I just wrote a code that for I in the range of 10, search for the df of I, 1 for the first of 0, then for 1, then 2, then 3. Okay, so search for the df of I and the values of this, and check where the coming results is true or not. So where it is will be true, I'll be appending those values to be in the my S. Okay, so I got some of the values there and just print the length of the X I've got. So you have found that 10 true values are there in the identity matrix of this. Okay, now it depends, you can pass on various things. Okay. So what I have used is I haven't used any much complexities there. What I have used is just the basic steps of the for loops and all these things. Okay. So that is again I'm saying that when you try to do something new, okay, this is a new method I have tried. Okay, I was using this with the method of these things, okay, the list of, but it's not working now. Maybe some issues were there. No problem. This is first I have tried here for the first time, and the basic concepts you need to try on. Okay, so this will give you an identity matrix. Okay, that is your I particularly, that is np dot I of any particular thing. You will give you a identity matrix of whatever you write. If you write for 10, then your 10 rows and 10 columns will be printed out. If you write 5 rows and 5 columns will be printed out. Okay, so this is a kind of I you get it basic things. Okay. Now for more information, if you want any kind of, I say it's for information, you will be writing on np dot informations, and you just check on for np dot I. So it will say that just return a 2D with one of the diagonal and 0 elsewhere, all this. Okay, so NumPy is very much important. Now let's say that we have studied how we can create an arrays, that is A, B and C, we can write it on. Okay, now see, 1D array is kind of thing we are having. 2D is a kind with an x is 0 and x is 1. X is 1 stands for the number of the columns you are having. Rows stands for the 0. Okay, so the 3D array, these are the things you have, x is 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Now this is a 1-dimension array, this is a 2-dimension array, and this is a 3-dimension array. Sorry, this is also a 2-dimension array. Okay, so what I did here, that is the point values are giving in the float and all these, then nothing much. Okay, so create an array. For creating an array of zeros, you just write np dot zeros and all you get. So creating an array of ones, you write it like this one, and then you can define your data types and all. For creating an array of evenly numbers, this is, see what happens. For evenly numbers, when you write for an evenly numbers, array of evenly numbers says that you want an range of, let's say, from 1 to 100, but you want its interval of the 2. So this is our evenly numbers you coming from the 1 to, not from 1 to there, right? 3 will not be getting common things. Okay. So let's say you want from So these are your even digit numbers you can get it on. Okay, so nothing but the range what you apply basically from 0 to 1000 on the intervals of 2. That's, and you want everything from the 1 to see on. So now you can see that it is 1, it is 2, 4, 6, 8, and all these things, right? So basic functionalities, very basic techniques you use. Okay, most of the times when you search on the internet and when you search for, or look for any of these NumPy things, so you'll be getting some complexity types of the programs there. So that's why I say when you try to build your concepts in any of the libraries, try to go with the basic steps. Okay, that basic will give you a much to explore yourself in much of the categories. Okay, now how Netflix uses, how Instagram uses, there are a lot of things you can make of your own, right? You can make of your own programs to make something, and many times it happens that you unknowingly you make something, right, which can be used as a good project, right, on some national or international basis. One of my student made an API, an app which is now used by the central government, right? So he was just trying to make unknowingly, and he made it out there, and that is very good actually running on there. So it will be coming in the Play stores there also. It's not like approved till now, but it is using in there. Okay, so it will coming in the Play Store. I'll send you that. That is very easy working. It has been made with some easy concepts. Yeah, it is of it had some of the complexities, but still it is made using the basic concepts of programming. Okay, right, and that is properly made on the Python also. So that's why I'm saying try to use the basic concepts. Now you guys know what are sets, what are things, and all these things, right? You know what are the sets, what are tuples. You don't need the basics of the Python, because I believe that you know Python there, right? So see what happens when you go with the sets. What you store in the set, basically, you know that tuple's value cannot be changed, right? You know that tuple cannot be changed. So if a user has given something inside a tuple, let's say he wrote his date of birth in the tuple, and then he's coming to change the values of a tuple, right? Let's say you have a date of birth, you have a year, and okay, I'm asking a generic question. Let's see your IQ. Say that I want to make a user defined program, or let's say I want to make a Netflix account. Okay, I want to make a Netflix account, and okay, and what I need is my phone number, and what more? I need a username. I need a username. Okay, forget all these things. Forget all these things. Let's say you you want to try. You want to make a Gmail account. A very basic thing. Okay, you will be getting a project on that also. Okay, the Python students will get this. You will be getting 1 day whole time. Python student get this for 5 days or 2 3 days. They get a time of 2 3 days to work on this project. You will be getting a 1 day time. I'll be giving you one particular day for this. You will have to make this project. Okay, and if anyone makes it very really good, I'll be posting it in the website, so that if anyone from a beginner level is working there, they can contact you for these codes. Okay, so see, when we try to make a Gmail ID, what we do is, what are the things we should keep in mind? Yeah, from your sides, give one by one answer. What should be the focus on, what should be the part I would be focusing on if I want to make a Gmail ID of a user from the beginning to end, right? You should be checking for the phone number. You should be checking for the what are required for the first name. You should be checking, not first name. You should be checking for the domain, or before the domain, what he takes, like at his username of the Gmail ID, right? His password, and you should also take uh, your. You should also check these things. Okay, let's see. What are the basic factors I'll be focusing on? Yes, say, who can say there? Security. Yes, security must be important one, but how? What are the programs to make that security? Okay, that is a good point. Let me ask one by one. So starting from the last, right? So what's your name there? Bathini. I think it's Bethany. Okay, you say what can be the importance? What can we use there? Okay, let's go for the steps one by one. Okay, so what is the basic first line I'll be writing in there? Okay, let me write and I'll ask you one by one. Okay, so we are just creating a Gmail one, so I'll just making one here. let's say this is a Python one, and this is the basic overview of a Gmail account, how it's work on. Okay, so there we need to go with some of the libraries. I'll be writing it here. Okay, don't take the visualizations part. That's okay, fine. So first we need to define a first name of a user. Okay, that is a blank set. No, set can't have any common values. So first name can be same. Last name can be also same. The user ID cannot be the same. So I'll be using set there. That is username, okay, of the email ID. That cannot be same, so I'll be using my set. Okay. Password can be same, right? Password can be same. Let it be a list. And what more? Date of birth. Date of birth also can be same. It be phone number. Phone number cannot be same. What more? What more to take in the Gmail ID? These much, right? Anything more? Yeah. Gender. So gender can be also changed, but still taking in the list set there. Okay. So let it be there. And what more? What more you see the Gmail ID? What I'm also not this first name, last name, username, password, date of birth. Anything else? Location, pin code, not like password should contain capital, figures, smallest letter, mixture of everything. All right, good. This is a one good step of that. Okay, right, very good. And what more? Okay, let these to be some of the categories. We have defined these as an empty one. Okay, that's good. Now let's take the first name. Let's take the first name. So first name would be input, enter, first name. Last name would be. So this is the first step of a user making an account. Now you should have to check one by one step whether he is doing correct or not. Right? So what is the first step you got in the when you write the first name? What is the first thing you get there? That is when you input a first name. When a user input a first name, what you should mention depends. It should not be always the capital, right? The first thing is not depends on the user what he write. Let he give any of the numbers and all the things, right? But it should not be blank, right? It should not be blank. So first name is equals to input, enter the first name, and what you will see that is okay. So if the first name is blank, you will suddenly break. Or you will say that enter first name. Okay, you'll say enter first name. Alright, but if it is not blank, if it is there, so you'll be using else. So you'll be using else out there. So then you will be giving your last. And similarly, if this is equals to this, so this is the first thing I'll be checking on. From the very first line, our security purpose will start. So if the last name is equals to blank, enter last name. because Google asks you, right, to enter the last name also. So this is there, and then we'll break out. Okay. This is the first thing. Okay. So first name, and if these is okay, if last name is also okay. If the last name is also okay, what we'll do is one by one we'll go there now. Okay. So now the first name and last name are done. Now it says to select a user ID. Okay. So this will be done in the else one only. So now write select user ID. Okay. So how it comes? Okay, how it comes at there? That is, let be user ID the UI. Now input, enter user or enter Gmail ID. Okay, this is a Gmail ID. Right. You can write it as given the hint that you can use it like that. You can write your, you can choose your mail ID as this. Okay, so I've given that you can choose your mail ID as username at the rate of gmail.com. So much, right? So I've given this freedom to this guy to write it that. Okay. Then he inputs his email ID. Now, what you have to do is you have to see if this user email ID already exists in your username or not. So if it exists, if it is found there, so what you will do, you will say print this email already exists. Choose another. And now you will give some of the random digits, right? Now I will give some of the random digits. So let's do one thing. Let's just take his. Now what you will give some random digits. How? Choose another, and what you do is you can write choose among these. You can choose among these. Which among these? Now you need to write among which. So what you will print on that? You want some okay, don't print. Say this is X. Let's see. Some 100 numbers, 1000 numbers. Okay, random digits of some 1000 numbers. And you will print his name, last name, first name, the last name. That's good. So you can print it as kind of, what is the basic thing we are getting is we get first name, I get the first name the user has given, plus the last name plus the str of the X. You can write first name plus the str of X. You can write last name plus the first name plus the str of X, right? So he can use this. You will giving the such an option over there. This you can use this or this, right? Just a random option I'm giving you. You can use your one. Okay, so this is an username UI in the username, and then you print on all these things. Okay, done. So username has been checked on. So if the username come here, that is if lies in the username, then you will printing that this is here, and this here. So it says that there, and you can use it here now. So if this not lies, then what we'll do is, if it not lies, then we'll ask for the password. This will ask for the password, that is your PA. So we'll ask for the password from the user. Now this is a good step. Enter your password. Now this is a very important step to focus on. So here what you will do, you will have to check a lot of things. First of thing, whether this is lower or not. Whether this is lower. Is lower. No. There are a lot of conditions you will be checking on. Now you give an input, right? Now you would have to see, first of all, the length. So if length of the password is less than, how many? 8, I think, right? So if length of the password is less than 8, okay. So if it's less than 8, what you do is, you will say print password too short. Okay, that's all. And if the length is greater than 8, you will give password what you can write here, length greater than 8, you can write it as good length, excellent password. Okay, you can just write on like that. Okay, now see, this was because this is a calculating of the length. Okay, so for this, now if the password is greater than 8, greater than or equals to 8, let's say, so I'll be doing that now. Well, if I'll check that if now the password which he has entered is lower. Now if this value becomes true, what I'll say, print use one capital case or uppercase, use one uppercase, that is your A, used at least one uppercase, and what special number. Okay, so we'll be using like that. Okay, now print has been done. Okay, now if the user is giving like that a capital case, or if we're using that all these things, how to check if the lower is equals to true, we'll using that. Now elif or else, if it is not like that, then we'll check that if the The lower has been checked on, right? So what we need to check first? Lower. Okay. So if any of the values comes, say, let's say the password or upper becomes true, so we'll be writing like that, right? So if it is not, then we'll check whether these. Alright, we'll see whether this is alphanumeric or not. Now, if this come true, mm, so if it is true, then we'll move on, right? Then we'll ask for the date of birth. No, you don't need to put it here. You can write it as date of birth. Okay, he will give your date of birth, or you will ask to write print enter day. I'm not going with the exact calendar now. That thing you will not understand now. So let's write print date of birth. Okay. Now db will be equals to enter day. Okay. Same. Not that is not print. That will be an integer input. Similarly, you'll be getting enter month, enter year. Okay, and his date of birth will be the str of db plus the str of his date of month plus his str of date of year. Okay, this will be the date of birth, what I will store here in my data. Okay, now if he has given the date of birth, what next has to be checked? So you can check for the phone number, right? You'll be checking for the phone number now, and then for the sex there. So let's take the input here itself. This can be entered here itself. Does not need any checking nowadays. Enter gender. It asks for gender. And no, don't write it here because these also need conditions. Okay, you have done these things. Now we'll ask for the gender. Now date of birth has been written, right? Date of birth can also be same. That is not an issue. So gender would be input enter gender. So input gender is male, female, or what is the next option you are getting there? It is transgender or say not to define, right? It is something like not to define, not to define. It can be not to define. So this gender could be this. Let's take it as integer. Let's not take for this much. Okay. So gender can be an input. That's all. So name has been taken. User ID has been checked on. Else has been done. Password has been checked on. Password cases excellency has been checked on. That's okay. Now we'll check for the phone number. So let's say this phone number is equals to input. Enter 10-digit phone number. But before that, we'll give him some country codes. So we'll give him to choose the country code. CD is a country code. So print, right? Not print, let's take an input. So input, enter country code. So he'll give his country code, he'll give his phone number, both in the integer. Not integer, sorry. Country code can be in +1. Right. Phone number will be an integer. Okay. Now I'll be writing phone number. Right. Now that's a common thing. We will check if the length of this phone is not equals to 10. So if it is not equals to 10, you will print enter correct phone number. Character missing. Let it be phone number. That's all. Okay. Now let's say if we write the correct phone number or elif if you found this phone number, if it is equals to 10, so if you find this phone number in your, what is this, PHNUM. So if you found this in your PHNUM, you'll print on phone number used too many times. Or write this number used too many times. Or you write number already exists with another account. Write that. Okay. I'm not writing the exact things, just giving an overview to you. So if it is coming there, right. Now it can also be right, the number should not be equal, right? It can be done. So if the number is not equal, okay, now if the number is not equal there, what you will do, or it does not belongs to that area. So if it is not equals to 10, you will be just getting for the writing these things. Now if it is equals to 10, you will be searching for the phone in the phone num. So if it is there, you will be just printing it this. Now if it is not there, what you will do that you will print you will just, what you will do now your task starts. Okay, now what you will do, the phone number has been checked. Now I think everything has been checked, last name, first name, username, password, date of birth, and everything has been done, right? Now what you will do, if the phone number is there, if it is not existing there, what you will do is you will PHNUM, you will append the, what you will append, you will append the phone number, right? You will append the phone number user has given. So not, you will not append the phone number, you will append the let's say PHONE phone is equals to this country code is cd hyphen sorry plus the dot and plus the str of the phone. So you will append the value of this phone with the country code, okay, inside the phone number your right. Then you will write your first name and you will append it by fn. Similarly you will write now everything if comes correct, then you will give him the things that is your last name. And then there is, I think, sex column and the what are the dictionaries, username and the sex and the phone number. So yes, so add the, I think we have taken gen, right? Gender, that's it. Then the username also add username will be UI. It's UI, right? So UI will be the username. Okay, let's see anything is not, if anything is wrong there, print enter this username. If UI in username, if not, can the password. Okay, correct. So UI has been done, and what more? The date of birth. So date of birth will be will append here also, because this can be also same. So we'll append the values of DOB. I think it's DOB, capital DOB. Yes. So we'll append the date of birth there. What has been left now? The phone number, I think. Password and the phone number. The username has been appended. Password has been. What is password? Password is PA. What is that? PA. So PA dot append. Let's just hope that we don't get any errors there. Password and phone number. Phone number has been done. So first name 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 7. Correct. So this is a program of some 50 lines. Exactly 50 lines. That's okay. Now, so this else is having a lot of steps. And print your email ID has been generated. I'm not going for the OTP one, right, guys? Because that could be just a big one there. So you can write your OTP if you want also, because I told you how you can just generate your OTP and then can send it to the user, right? When it comes like for a phone number, it's correctly LF enter the phone number. So you can give the phone number or phone in phone number, right? So else what you can do is you can just write one for the OTP if you want. You can make it at OTP once. So you can write that OTP is equals to random dot and int of 1 2 3 comma 4 5 6 7. Let it be 5. So OTP could be this, and you can just print it on that G plus the str of, right, str of OTP. Is your Google verification. We need to send this, but I'm printing here. Okay, I think you guys are getting it messy. Calculate age given the birth of age. Yeah, that all the thing I'll do, what you will do there. Then what else the project I will give to you. Okay, so this could be our Google verification code, and that's cool. Okay, so this will be the OTP you have sent. Now you can ask the user the OTP. So you can ask the user that OTP is equals to input the OTP. So for here, I am giving the user, I'm showing that what is the OTP is coming there. So OTP will be this. Okay. Now if the OTP is not equals to the, oh sorry, let this be OTP. Okay. So if the OTP is not equals to OTP, or if the, yeah, so if it is not equals to the user generated OTP, right, so we need to write only the number we are getting. Okay, that is the number. So if the OTP is not equals to the OTP we are getting here, or let's say it's not equals to the str of this OTP, input we are getting here is a random state. So that's just to write the input exactly. So this can be the OTP. So if the OTP is not equals to this, we'll print to say invalid OTP. But if it is equal, then these are the good ones. This is 57, and I hope no errors. I hope for no errors. There comes an error in the line number 8. Print. That's a huge error. First name has been taken. If the first name is blank, print this and break the statement. Else, take the line number input. If the last name is blank, what is the error getting?
Sir, there will be a tab because
There's
there is
a
indentation.
indentation error is there. Yeah, that will be a tab. So this is done. This is done. Any more errors? Break outside loop. Line number 7, last name. Else. Might be more gaps has been given, I think. No. So if it is not equals to this. So phone number, since here has been an error. I was suspecting this error. It's not, then let's run it. You break outside the loop, line number 9 is print else, break outside the loop. So if line, what is there? First number has been an input. If first number is not a blank, we'll go for the second number, and if second number is a blank, we'll enter second number and then break. If it is not a blank, then just write, don't use this else one. If it just will break that, and if it is not, then we'll go to else and we'll print these things. Break outside the loop, still having issues. UI. Okay, let me stop this.